learning coaches. Welcome back to our lesson. I am going to continue on in Unit 20 with Lesson 2, which is our Explore lesson. We're going to be continuing to look at our article, Germs, Our Unwanted Guest. It is in your K-12 World magazine that is entitled Our Busybodies, and the article that we read in Lesson 1 begins on page 20. If you're continuing on with Lesson 2 on the same day that you did Lesson 1, learning coaches, you do not have to read the article again or go over the new words. But if you have chosen to do Lesson 2 on a different day, you will need to go back and reread the article, Germs, Our Unwanted Guest, and you will also want to go over the new words that were introduced in Lesson 1. Those new words were cells, germs, microscope, and white blood cells. You will want to point these out to your student in the magazine article and go over the definitions if you are reading this article on a different day than you did Lesson 1. So you will also want to, if you're doing this lesson on a different day, you will want to do your book walk again, where you will talk about the title of the article. You will look at the pictures and talk about the pictures. Go to the table of contents, let them find the article, Germs, Our Unwanted Guest, which begins on page 20. Let your student locate the article, and then you can continue on with the rest of the lesson. So we're going to, I'm going to pause for just a moment. If you want to reread the article, you may do so at this point, and then we will come back and we will answer. I will go over some questions with your student. At this point, if you have reread the article, we're going to go and ask some questions, and I'm going to go in a different order than is listed in your learning guide. So we're going to go down and check our reading. And students, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to tell the answer to your learning coach. And learning coaches, you will see the questions up here on the screen, as well as some possible answers that your student might give you. So students, tell your learning coach the answer to this question. Can you see a germ with just your eyes? If you told your learning coach no, you are correct. Second question. What are all your body parts made out of? Tell your learning coach the answer. If you told your learning coach cells, you are correct. Next question. What do cells need to do their jobs well? Tell your learning coach the answer. The cells need food and energy to do their jobs well. Next question. What can germs do to the cells in our bodies? What can germs do to the cells in our bodies? They can steal their food and energy. Last question. Why should you cover your mouth and nose when you sneeze? Tell your learning coach the answer to that question. If you told your learning coach it helps keep germs from getting into the air, you are correct. Learning coaches, if your students had problems answering some of these questions, you will want to go back into the article and redo these questions with them and show them the answers in the article. At this point, we're going to go back and look at cause and effect. And then we're going to talk about what cause and effect is, and we're going to look at some examples of it, and we're going to students, I'm going to ask you some questions about cause and effect based on the article that we read today. Let me get down to where I want to be. Students, we're going to explore the idea that one thing can cause another thing to happen. This is called cause and effect. The thing that you do is called the cause, and the thing that happens is called the effect. And I'm going to share some examples with you of cause and effect because they are all around us. For example, if you push a button, which is the cause, the effect would be a doorbell rings. If you kick a ball, which is a cause, the effect is that the ball flies into the air. Another example, which you've heard Mrs. Holden talk about lots of times in our class, if you practice reading every day, the effect would be that you will become a good reader. All right, students, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to tell your learning coach the answer. What happens, or what is the effect if you stick a pin in a balloon? Tell your learning coach what will happen. What will the effect be? If you told your learning coach that the balloon pops, you are correct. The second question, what is the cause of a broken glass on the floor? There might be several different answers for this. Tell your learning coach what will happen, or what is the cause of a broken glass on the floor. If you told your learning coach maybe someone dropped a glass, or it got knocked over, or it got knocked off the counter, all of those are good examples of a cause. All right, let's look at some questions based on cause and effect in our story that we read today in our magazine article entitled Germs Are Unwanted Guests. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to tell your learning coach the answer. And learning coaches, these questions are also listed in your learning guide and with the possible answers highlighted in pink. If you have a cold, what caused it? Think about the article that we read. Tell your learning coach. If you told them germs, students, you are correct. If you have a cold, what caused it? Germs. Next question. What happens when you look at germs through a microscope? What happens? Do the germs look bigger or smaller? If you told your learning coach that the germs look bigger, you are correct. Next question. Why do we feel weak and tired when some germs get into our bodies? Think about when you're sick. Why do you feel weak and tired when some germs get into your bodies? If you told your learning coach the germs steal food and energy from our cells, you are correct. Next question. What happens when white blood cells do their jobs? Tell your learning coach the answer. They keep you from getting sick. They fight germs. That's what white blood cells do. That's their job. What happens, or what is the effect if you take medicine when you're sick? What will be the effect of taking medicine when you're sick? If you told your learning coach they will kill germs or make you feel better, you are correct. What can happen if you don't cover your mouth when you cough? What will be the effect if you don't cover your mouth when you cough? If you told your learning coach germs will get in the air and then people will breathe in your germs, which could possibly make them sick, you are correct. All right, next question. Imagine that your friend is sick and drinks from a cup. What will your friend leave on the cup? If your friend is sick and they drink from a cup, what will your friend leave on the cup? Tell your learning coach the answer. If you told them germs, you are correct. What could happen if you take a drink from your sick friend's cup? If you pick up that cup and you drink after your friend, what might happen to you? Tell your learning coach. If you told your learning coach that the germs might make you sick and you would get sick also, you are correct. And you probably have heard your mom or dad tell you many times, don't drink after anyone else. You might catch what they have. Last question. How can you keep germs off your hands? How can you keep germs off of your hands? If you told your learning coach by washing your hands with soap and warm water, you are correct. Learning coaches, if your students have any difficulties answering any of these questions, you will need to go back into the magazine article and reread the parts that answer these questions and point out those answers to your students. This is the end of lesson 2. At this point, you can mark lesson 2 complete and move on with lesson 3 on the same day, or you may decide to do lesson 3 on the same day. So at this point, I'm going to go back in and mark this lesson complete, and that will conclude our lesson for today. At this point, you would move to the page that shows you where you can mark the lesson complete. I'll mark that lesson complete, and that will be the end of lesson 2. Thanks for joining me today. Have a super day.